Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with a new self-making episode. Dank je voor klikken op de video. I appreciate it very much. Vooral después de unha di não tem nada going on out there. Ao episode aqui, me tenho o prazer de ter com Misha Raymond, ma invitei-la de la bisa si kasi di biya pa vinir podcast. So Misha, thank you very much. The podcast aqui não se papi tiki di basta coisa actually. Não só touch o piri pa Misha su background, pero sim não se dive deep em lo que é su craft, de parte de psicologia. Trago muito nan, trago teenagers, problema na guta for hopi na Aruba, caso na guta for hopi na Aruba, symptoms na siya aqui, dus nasa touch ko sa manera ADHD, anxiety, depression, personality disorders, etc. etc. Hopi mas. So, it's my first time back. Me don't think rusty, pero hopefully you guys enjoy the interview and to me talk about the next one. Thank you guys. Pero me tiki henda nang, although but in politics is mas tanto bien conocido, pero me tiki henda nang kuno conocido, me can just touch dos perguntas, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Starting with Kiko tabo academic background.
My academic background. Bom, me acaba vivendo na Aruba. Depois viveu para a Universidade de Leiden. E na Leiden eu studia, dus my bachelor in psychology. E depois mais my masters in clinical neuropsychology de Mucha, specifically children. Depois como acabei de estudar af, ako avião me Aruba, isso me vim trabalhar na Aruba. E minha irmã Homer, tempo que eu estava na Holanda, mas também buscar meu diploma positive, so I was ready to work.
Pero di como temporada para minha Aruba back.
It's tweedelig. Ik heb hoop je te poder conhecer. At some point, porque minha Aruba back was o maior ante virando grande, and you want to be part when you want to still be part of their life, and nanta cognizant, nanta aware, nanta do fun stuff with them. And I've always known me can back Aruba. In hindsight, I would just hung this period hey, maybe somewhere else for a while wouldn't be that bad. Pero me tava that set sim para apply what I've learned back na Aruba. Parce que me tata sinti que Aruba po use my services, psychological services, anywhere better than anywhere other in the world. Dus me drive that para being back and start helping kids na Aruba. Is I see.
Nice. And to di kung you ba in psychology in the first place?
Well, with a touch the Biaha childhood experiences. I've talked a lot about it. Mita un child in domestic violence. Dus I grew up in domestic violence. And since I was a year of 8, mita tabisa to I'm going to become a psychologist.
But also as in a young.
As in a young.
Wow.
I was pretty young. Mita kere mita dat ding derde klas of so. Derde klas. And I'm going to be a psychologist. And so the driving force behind that was wanting to have somebody around to talk to. Was that when you go through certain things, buketi hand around who will hear you out or even guide you in a certain way. There's I always knew I wanted to be that for kids. I wanted to be that person for kids. So I'm gonna be some people who study psychology, little healers, not the little people who've been through stuff until they feel like they need to fix things when they're older. So Samper mi bisa no. I think I could have done many other things, pero if you know what you've wanted from such an early age, I'm more convinced than ever this was what I was supposed to do. This knowing that from such a young age and to the age I am now, to the age I am now, the beautiful age of 38. 30 years in the making, no? Since 8 to 38, 30 years in the making, I do not regret it at all. And to me, that's saying, hope die vak, day in, day out. Every child is different. Every problem is different. And the more I've learned, the more intrigued I am by the human mind. Not this. It's something I think and I feel it was written in the books for me. Let's put it that way.
Ocho ta hopi young.
See, ocho ta hopi young.
It
was either a psychologist or an astronaut. So I think we're good with a psychologist. So yeah, the moon is nice from afar, but I think we're safe.
Was aqui uma lesson minha, agora se uma lesson mas escutei no caminho. É um tiki cheesy, pero é um quote que eu disse que when you look at movies, the hero and the villain, o pipiata passa a dormir uma experience. You know,
it's just how you react to it. Exactly. Yeah. What you make of it. Yeah.
Exactly. The hero says, "Bosami, ti laga new hende guardo lastima sina."
Sí.
And the villain dice, "Mundo lastima e me quer lastima back."
Exactly. That is a very interesting concept. Sobre experiences do shape you in three ways. How do you view yourself? How do you view others? And how you view the world? And so if you go through such experiences, así na, me llaman ng formative experiences, pues ito echt formabo, you're gonna, but bij trek een conclusie die bomes. Either I'm not good enough, either I'm not safe enough, or I'm not worth it. And that's going to translate to how you treat others. Because I'm not worth it, you're not going to love me. Because I'm not good enough, you're not going to respect me. And that translates to the world. I am not going to take that risk and take that job because people are not going to see me as worthy. Does it really influence life choices and how you go about the world? That quote has roots every single way in psychology.
Kung ting anything ko por yudabo, even purba predict of determine kung é mucha den caso lo react na experience. Pues vamos a botin dos rumang ko pasa do mes un experiência kubo. Abo anto un rumang mas.
Sí.
É possível que você dosta guarda forma completamente diferente de
Yes.
mesma experiência, tá?
Yes.
Kiko por determine sei se não é data sina young você hai mesmo
Sí.
formação quase.
Well, basta stel nou dat is een voorbeeld inderdaad die doos roman. Anto un tin 8, un tin 6.
Okay.
Cara ko e outra dat in doos aan pro me kune ko tawata in the world already, right? Anto ita mak me so mayorang in a certain way kaba. Pa ora er mang bing tin certain things ko shape kaba in a way ko quizás dat bom. Pero juist er mang bing, quizás e mama para trabaho e tata para trabaho, die mas stressors in the family. Dus a baby's experience of his or her parents, daarbij te different, ko e mucho kutaw tin doos aan kaba.
Yeah.
So je nan kaba boting een scheve bopobisa experience, palo que te mucho nan di na mayor nan. Quizás sobre mucho nase prometo saina na tata biba de uma maneira que nota what detrimental of stressful to the child. Pero when the older child becomes 4 and the other in dos, quizás na perecas. They had to move towards by the biba kunang grandparents. Stress ko ouder. So the context change and it affects the child. This it doesn't matter si bota biba de mesmo household. You can have different experiences because shape differently. Because no two children are going to have the same experiences with their parents.
As the parenting style masando the first kid pa second time
exactly. Nata sinya ko school. Nata bisa I've learned with you, so I'm not going to apply it with them. Thanks, mom. Because I'm the guinea pig. Pero no, whatever I learned with you, I'm not going to apply it to the second child. Pero as is experiences, parenting tamit a dynamic, no? Depende kiko ta pasa around the parent, could shape the parent even better, or in this case, less better to prepare them for parenthood with a second child. So no two children are going to have the same experiences. Sorry, Smith Papel English. I'm sorry.
No, me dá.
That's cool. Okay.
Super bom, super bom. Se porque não está.
Okay.
Switch in English para copiar.
Just me Spanglish ta drenta, pero we're good.
Bia pasa con essa short call, ma puntrabo in het kort. Vooral door op dat den psicologia, kiko te problems dan of não sei se problems de palavra, pero problems, manifestation symptoms que te come voor mas na Aruba. Digo que mas kiwi portamos falla pero babisa mean mental problems. Anto depression ko anxiety. Malaga algo fof, say the accurate.
It is depends on the age.
Okay.
Children, both 0 to 5, could grow in a very stressful context.
Okay.
Not a bisabo. Hi, I'm 5. I'm living in a very stressful context. Not a uit in gedrag. So you're going to see a lot of behavioral problems. It would affect tambe brain development. Dus bij wak developmental disorders tambe. As they grow older and a context tambe por change or shape or whatever, it would affect the teenager experiences, certain experiences. Dus hier no estaba más depression and anxiety más older than become. Pero we do see kids getting younger and younger and having more and more depressive and anxiety symptoms.
Uma idade mais trempang.
Uma idade mais trempang. Like, no estaba mucho nang, bisa 8, 10 años, bisa me que mata mi mes. Like, it's becoming younger and younger and younger. And
den caso nee, sorry, tapos echt nanda bindi yung household kuta total loss of ting kun no tine on paper ano kuta dili ke kosing.
But that's what we do have right now, the silent influence with the internet. Okay. It doesn't matter si importa quizás a household that hopi influential, riba sinata develop anxiety of depression, but we do have that phone or that tablet and that internet kutambita influence how the child views itself, others, in the world. Dus quizás mucha nota necessarily directly versus omgeving indicators could have get a bit depressive, pero a por si get in touch with certain content online could make the child think differently of view himself differently or herself differently. Yes, I see to my affecta some mood swings and the way was miss and was that feeling irritated or frustrated for not being a certain type or having certain things. This it's gonna influence the child. Mita kere a household is a very strong factor. Pero mita kere hopi bianos to forget there's a very lurking factor kuyama internet and social media. And to going to affect the development of children. Dus we do see it in younger kids. Na tabirando mas young de essay. En na hopi bezig ku how should I say their mood, no? How to express their mood swings. En to si algo na tabirando bong, but the wake duidelijk ding was that tantrums and to no quer nada. But so depression looks different when you're younger, no? And that's soggy, but feeling
Como ainda
depressed.
mostrou ora muita demasiado,
Yeah,
fora de
very
muito.
angry, very tantrumy, mane bosan, and not being able to satisfy with anything. Tu kosa problema, tu kaya bom, tu mas mami, gritamento like it hope mas prominent, no, mas externalizing.
Com ouder e ora maior por distinguish si bota quer su using either early depression of que tá gewoon passando door die teenagehood,
Sí. Well, it's difficult, pero sobra boti mucho nang kuting no se llama nang bases, o sea, their base ta mas impulsive, mas licht geraakt, mas everything that bothered them and you have to prepare them well for change and you have to do this and it's not necessarily depression, pero si bo add a parte di cognities, what are they saying, how are they thinking, how are they feeling, that's just an impulsive act, pas na no een cookie. Eta mas so nobody likes me, nobody wants me, I'm not good enough. Wat zijn type die gedachten zijn dat manifesta. En toch is zij tezamen met structureel het uiten van bepaald gedrag, wat er para hey, something don't take it off, zeker emotie like você é lloramento, é kiko, é con, and not really being able to surpassar tu recento by back to normalcy. Wat o waki ere tun tiki mas langdurig. So, toen moet je tin tantrums. Toen moet je po tin momento na kuna bisa nu hen estimami, to minta estima nu hen. Pero seta structureel, to aanhoudend, to niki bo hase emotionot, jere ko botin como pensa de outra richting. Wat meneer, misschien is het quizás algo más que não, que diz the normal phase como moet je daarbij denken. But we do see it more often wanneer just really like depressed and anxious kids. And met hele basta worrisome, to be honest.
Kiko bota quer porta some of the causes na hora bisa internet com social media, pues é algo que definitely ouders não por controlar, bom não sei que bonito wak, pero Kiko tá algo assim não por onde gato na hora que porta causes não pensar que anxiety and depression.
As much as we don't want to talk about it, hobby biaha psychiatric problems of posa coisa neta de família. Hobby biaha se dig deep. Genetically, okay. Sim. That's genetically to component. Hobby biaha ora bota papigo ouders, we say met tante of sim met mama que tá depressief of met man que sofre de anxiety. En dat bota waak een genetic play na een poor uitzicht aan bij het kind. Dus vaak is er een genetisch component. Maar so ons stoornis, dat sali diz pa sali. En dat being, hey, maar that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. But mensen hebben susceptibility. Dus mensen hebben, dus stoornis mensen die algo to work with. Maar die susceptibility, een gevoeligheid, een kwetsbaarheid. Omdat ik wist, oké, wil dat het depressief, een tante dat depressief, dus je moet je een kwetsbaarheid dat dat depressief. Je hebt algo te passen, een big stressor in the life. Je moet je cambiar school para tu amiguito nang, je moet je bij een basis, je no te guste. There's a big stressor. A big stressor. Een parte uit die, ja, een biologisch stukje. Maar het dan bekomt dat gaat om met stress, is het psychologisch. Kiko bopo handle, kiko bonopo handle, en to how do you cope with situations? Interaction aanang, put a recipe for disaster, as it would be in one child, of juist a recipe will create a little hero, as it would be in another child. But not to be okay, mita susceptible to this, die big factor, pero kom mita pensa erover te voelen outro. Mita bisa, no, I'm not gonna let this keep me down. I'm mita fight it through. Of een outro moet je bisa, the weight of the world is too heavy. Me homie just give up and call it a day. So it's an interplay of different things. Of course, quizás, and the question is, how big of a stressor is a stressor? Because certain kids por deal com más, and más resilient, com otro kids com ta hopi más gevoelig para cierto coisa. There's an interplay of it all por create a recipe for disaster. Pero it cannot just be as simplified as um, the child is just depressed. There's always an interplay die differente coisas com ta hasi com bisa, en nu komt het tot uiting. This is why this child is in here at this moment asking for help. So a lot of things happen at the same time.
Interesting.
Sí.
Mi te comprende con babisami ku psicologia después ku estudie te queda bir un rabbit hole ku
No,
thing,
no. Mas aqui da praat, ora, acaba estudia, vou ver se vou prometer trabalho. Eu prometo trabalho da poli, dus kinder en jeugdpsychiatrie. So, all I know is kinder en jeugdpsychiatrie. So, ora, mas como você trabalha, você sabe, vou matching pencil set, anto botas, anto lunchbox, anto...
Anto bota tuma antekening turcos,
Você
schrift
aqui me
novo,
quer
hopi highlighting.
Hope nice. Tu gosta netjes, tu gosta very programmed. And I think 5 years later, wat we nou, una mo poner papel ya trove. Like, basta, and daar gaat het leven, no? And it's very interesting. But wak, kom wat switch die textbook descriptions. Pas ora bo wak kom wat oh, this is sakit ADHD. I've read about it. To wak om hen, dat we zeggen, oké, ADHD speelt een rol in, maar wie ben jij? Like, why do you sit here today in front of me?
Esa é bem ku mas aia den praktijk, toch?
Mas aia in praktijk, and you start to understand, people are not walking diagnoses.
No?
People are people.
Okay. Ki boga mengen say? Elaborate een tikje van me.
It depends, wak. Wanneer op wak omhende vanuit de bril van een diagnose. Je naam met een onderschuiving daarbij in psychologie. Je weet dat er iets aan de hand is in een persoon notei. Pero lo que botimos dilanti no ta ADHD, lo que botimos dilanti tu gente que tem problema com certo aspecto de sua vida passou de ADHD. So you have to humanize the person in front of you. E não just having a walking diagnosis. Mas I know that just ADHD começa a medicatie and a few tips and go home. No, you have to understand, why does this person feel like they need help at this moment in time in front, and they're sitting in front of you for that help? And the ones you humanize, and will make them a behandeling must adapt to who's in front of you, but about the most success, because the person feels seen and heard, and oh, you do understand I'm not just a walking ADHD case. I am a person who has difficulties, but I also have strengths. I also have possibilities and capabilities. Portanto, ora bo começa a que total plaatje de persona sin tabu dilanti, then it brings a whole new dynamics to treatment. Parce que persona da sinti, I know I have this, but I know I can do this. And to, but I know I can do this, so I'm able to focus on. So I'm sempre a certain, like, ADHD, but not kite. Autisme, but not kite.
Bang, Jacob touch bang, si bueno también explore un rato con como lo describe clinically en todo lo que ADHD ta. So that literally the definition is gewoon attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder.
Exactly.
Pero como lo describe it?
I can describe it, but there's a list of symptoms cool. Si we'll check mark it, but we'll diagnose somebody with ADHD.
Okay.
Symptoms present at a very early age. I think it was before 7 or around 7. Mi koi DSM-5. Pero was a difficulty finishing tasks, impulsivity, snel afgeleid, hobby prikkelbaar. Was a certain aspects hoe nou kom ze describe it, but okay, dit, okay, that, haha. But I can also say ADHD moest different in a 7-year-old and a 17-year-old.
What visa if they show symptoms before 7, toch? Kiko te pasa si na comienza show symptoms after 18 of 20, por ejemplo.
Then you really have to ask yourself, zie je het ADHD? ADHD is een ontwikkelingsstoornis, no? Het zit in de ontwikkeling.
Okay. Dus het is supposed to comienza early on.
But it's supposed to comienza wax symptoms at an early age.
Okay.
If that's not the case, but I kijk de kost, concentratieproblemen, I think is part of almost all diagnoses. Depressie, anxiety, ADHD, autisme.
Het kan worden toe.
Het komt voor. Dus, zie wat je ook concentratieproblemen, doesn't mean automatically what you ADHD.
Yeah.
Then you have to dig deep. You have to understand how this person developed into the person they are today. And what were their struggles? And the kiko tawata challenges. And why were there challenges? Tawata challenges pa sobre the attention problems, concentration problems, impulsivity, was that thrill seeking, making decisions sin echt pensé bom. That's why they ended up being 17 and diagnosed with ADHD, or tawata in trauma in the early childhood. And to onrust daarvan aan manifest mes na de shit como ADHD kenmerken. I've seen a lot of kids, 15 and up, kota drenta met de vraag, is er ADHD? En het result kon go to sexual abuse. En ADHD was geen sprake van. They've changed after the symptoms manifested itself. Dus we misten comprender boom where it started. Maar als je no comienza na early childhood, pero comienza later on in your teens, then probability is dat die algo otro tomgano un rol.
É porta possível também que eu agora aqui, so from an outsider, non-psychologist perspective, me dá que look at the anxiety, ADHD and depression, dat gewoon três topics que komen voor maar op me. Zijn dat papje maar op erover, het zien die manier assim tu rende que vou conhecer at least at some point assim die con antinele. ADHD porta também que é uma misconception que agora aqui door de social media, televisão, gewoon bo attention span por vir mais cortico?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Nos beloningscentrum de nos cabeça, de nos brain.
Say that reward system? Okay?
The reward system, exactly. It doesn't work like it used to, right? Antes, the reward system that are very limited. But daarbij bijvoorbeeld tira paper planes and you better be happy.
Yeah.
Hoy en día, die tablet, com communication, com headphones, com Kiko, and to Minecraft, and to Kiko. Me digo, cara, Kiko, tu mi sobrinha tá bisami, but it's a very interactive world. And to nang attention span, si not traz un tablet playing that game, but are you even here? And I do think it affects the way we view diagnosis. And I do think it affects the way we think about diagnosis. Mita Sinti, the brain is not the same brain it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. I think the brain nowadays, especially with children, it's being exposed to different prikkels, different manieren.
Overstimulation, no?
Overstimulation. So, now they're easily bored. Oh my gosh, Tia, I'm bored. And then what are you bored about?
Pero segmente também que easily a next generation of isso nunca agora aqui tá muito young. Comparar com, vamos a mim essa favor, não está tão muita. Não tá quase mane dopamine junkies bolo bisa?
I would say so.
But por get addicted de ora na stimulation, na dopamine, que de brabo pro gewoon withdrawal symptoms, com nata freak out of throw un tantrum or bokita algo final.
Which we do see, right? We do see that.
De mucha, pero por crossover também na hora mira mais grande.
The reward system doesn't differentiate. A reward system no sabe un tablet bodilante.
Okay.
But you develop into your adult brain, but not to develop. But adult brain a product die kiko turbo omgeving expose wordt toe. Your adult brain develops to 23, 24 years. En dan wordt dat eigenlijk een beetje uitgegroeid in je breinontwikkeling. Pero van een moment dat brain is still developing as a child. And what I mean with developing, that it's making neural connections. Dus brain are making neural connections based on exposure to such a reward system. It's not algo papayega kita pa sobra babira grande. So you're going to always look for that reward or look for that sensation the reward brings. So we're definitely creating different brains in newer times, but I'm not sure if we're ready to attend to it and understand it. En to gelukkig zie when it comes to psychology, it's a very dynamic, het is een dynamische leer. Hopi onderzoek, hopi afstemming, riba kiko tabi nobo, kiko na, and how does technology affect diagnosis and the brain? And it's not algo kuta para quieto. And I appreciate that. But if we get stuck in what is diagnosed 30, 40 years ago, we wouldn't understand a soul today. So it's not moving with the times. But I do really think ADHD op dit moment ziet er anders uit. Even narcissisme, no? See, but think it true, we're all a little narcissistic.
How?
Facebook. Likes. Exposure. No one like me portrait, there must be something wrong. No one love me story, there must be something wrong. So we're all a little narcissistic. But to have a diagnosis, you're suffering because of it.
Pero sei tá se também com aquilo que vai ser voorbeeld com nossa post portret, nossa como se depende de likes of nos quer likes en aan, que tá se com nos surte vir um tiki narcissistic. Sei não tá se com tempo e hora e requirements e diagnostics tinko cambia at some point.
At some point it should. At some point it should. Pero bonota ha je diagnose si bonota ervaar lijdensdruk. If you don't feel like I'm suffering because of something in me or inherent to me, bonota bij busca ajuda. which is also a little difficult. But so, hindi ko ta na narcissist. I'm great already. What do you mean?
Ito moeilijk pa nang by buscar ajuda ora, toch?
Nada
Para
buscar
even
ajuda.
reconocer quando tem um
Nada
problema.
buscar ajuda. Ora, tem algo around them que ta dreigt die bij party. Se bambi se na cai de uma relatie and they really like the person, e a pessoa também, oh hell no. You need help. You know, yeah, I'm being number so. Esta pensa me está ajuda. I think I'm great. Pero esta pensa me está ajuda. Então, também, so why are you here? Like, what? E aí, depois começa a escutar o verhaal en dan is het best wel confronteren, no? Pero, um, the times are changing and we all have a little bit of something, which is okay. Pero si você começa a sofrer, if you really can't really pick up things around you in life, dan heb je echt een probleem. Dan is het structureel. Dan is het niet een fase, dan is het niet een beetje van. Je hebt in algo que is probabo, die, how should I put it? Die fit in socially.
Okay.
Pas obra, we are social beings, right? Nós somos social beings, we live for being in a society en onderdeel daarvan. Ora bot een disorder, je wordt wel een beetje buiten gekaatst, pas op een fit in. Pas als je bot mucho hyper, bot mucho dead, bot weird, bot papi, bot kiko, bot kong. So people are gonna cast you out. When you're outcasted, dan ervaar je dat als een probleem. Pas normally you're there's something I need to get checked or looked at or help with. Dus usually bewustwording van dat stukje, hoe lijdensdruk, in no echt por get things going around you in life, ta hasi ko después vou buscar ajuda. Obi biaba ba yung diagnose, bo me sitting bo me sit kosa na meste bij malo den na bisa minimaal 3 leefmilieus. Bij kinderen het na kaas, na school, na sportclub, of course een kunosto wa mes na poli, en dat bisa nou, esa kita echt een kosa e mucha ta hiba tu caminho com ne. Se tu gosta disso passa na escola, ou disso passa na casa, ou também. Quizás assim, algo está passando na casa como você local, ou algo na escola você local, pero não tá alguém muito da riba com ele. É escorrendo grande. Se você tem problema na seu trabalho, problema na sua relação, problema na casa com os irmãos, e eu também, quizás, maybe the problem is you. Maybe what you get looked at, what are you taking with you all these places could are causing these disruptions in the social interaction. Dus is também interessante para compreender, like, it's not just, a persona está fastidioso. No, is it structureel? Is it something the person takes everywhere with them? E diz para sobre um tique de algo no que me botem algo. É que me botem um tique de algo. And it doesn't qualify for a diagnosis yet. So,
Você sempre está doendo hopi analytical of door de trabalho
oh
que
gosh,
vai
no, me left brain and me right brain.
Dus sempre para assim, né?
Yes, I've my favorite vak dat de biologie. So me put was I play around with stuff. But I've always been observant, analytical, absolutely. But I do love art. I do love poetry. I do love that creative side as well. Pero sí, I'm soms gaat het een beetje snel. I've heard a few times come met die ADHD, don't worry.
No, I've heard it too.
You usually see what I mean high information. It's like a sineke de mi cabeça. So yes, I've been told many times go met the basta analytical.
Nee, vou dar para sair. A question que pop up. Tem sowieso tem drawbacks, pero tem pros também benefits ang ku por being ku ADHD of misa no pros pero por da abilities nang ku hindi ku ADHD sitting.
Luister dan. I think I've said it many times in Mitrabona. I love ADHD. Me gusta ADHDs. I like them. I like ADHDs. Met de testing kids die me kan doen ADHD. Anto nata tene ko hunga takai, nata kai festool, nata sina druk. It's the way they experience the world. Me gusta autistisches também, né? Kinderen met autisme. Because once you understand how they see the world and how they understand the world, it enables a perspective and how different people can be, but just as interesting the same. Met aquele ADHD, vooral si bota capture things and you live in a moment, it can be a beautiful experience. Pero porta very hurtful experience si gente não te compreendebo. And they try to, contain you and to put too much and to put too this. So people with ADHD could be very emotional as well. Not to feel everything at once and to not expressive and to not kiko and to not and to very social and But the beauty of it could also be the 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 dark side of it. It depends on who you have around you and to go to guide yourself through ADHD. So I mean, sowieso met de beast, no? There's beauty in every brain. There's beauty in every person who to think differently, look things differently. Depende, no? Mas po bem ko
No, no,
strai.
sembra pa din
Sim,
pare.
não, mas meneer, excuse me. Pero vooral bij kinderen, we zagen hoe not experience the innocence of the world, of the non innocence in the world, but they don't know how to control that part of them. Goed, dat ADHD of autism of, was that so? Um, I've had beautiful experience with kids. No, there's kids kwa being many autism and to parents could be saying my child doesn't experience emotions. I'm just like yes, yes they do, just they don't express it or they don't show you the way that you would believe. And I've had conversations with kids, with the kid 14, 15, and I'm with a ski and talking, and then and I look up and they're crying. Was that like something hit the nerve? And the other one, they're listening and they're feeling. That was, I mean, I don't know why there's water on my face.
Nando bisa pa si.
Saying that, I don't know why there's water on my face. And the what was that's called tears. Like you feel something. This it opens up a world for kids or about to help them get in touch with that part that a lot of people don't understand.
Wag, I was since pa mention kids ang. I mean, not agora 100% kika notes ang ginanda. So,
Yeah.
so guide vintiki.
Okay.
Pero wag, dos puntos ko mas kibi, kung ik echt explore ook een rato. Uno ta, a lot of not knowing who you are,
Mm-hmm.
underdeveloped identities, itong ko sa
Mm-hmm.
mention. Bang comienza que sepa. The second one ta, attachment styles, ko ora pa explicar, me riba qual bia pa sa mele super interessante.
Yeah.
Bang comienza que parte di underdeveloped identity, and
Mm-hmm.
not knowing who you are. But
Mm-hmm.
ervaren se hoop ik hoe moet je dan kennen, Naruba?
Bossa, yes, I do. And I think it is, but you ask yourself, what is there around you to develop your identity? Bossa, hobby biaha, normally, or but in teenage years, but explore. Bossa, to but começa a think, oh, this is for me, oh, this is not for me. Yeah, but começa whack, who are you? And to kimbota. Minosasi tapaso, yeah, no a small island and limited possibilities, but we echt explore. Basta maybe artistically, maybe in clubs, maybe in book clubs, kosa sina who you are. Mina te bisa kunoting, no? Pero mita bisa, het wordt wel beperkt tot op een gegeven moment. Itamen is very multicultural. Basta nos the influences from a lot of cultures on the island. And that could have an effect op identiteitsvorming. And the first question, like, wie ben ik? And if you don't even know, wie wil je zijn? Like, what do you aspire to be as a person? Basta, met je normen, met je waarden, things you stand up for and fight for, or things you're like, hey, I identify with certain beliefs or certain things.
Na kia dat Misha ja mucho van hoop in what expecting capability some sense of identity.
Basta, I think at a very early age, you have to at least start thinking about it. And to minosasinos being stimulated enough to think about it. Mane, yeah, culturally kinang, when kids have opinion, it's something bad. Was that? But brutal. You're not nice. You're supposed to shut up and accept what people tell you. There are other parts of the world, not that you guys encourage, no, have your own opinion. Tell me what you think. Oh, you don't like that I'm saying that. Okay. Now the question, and that's okay. That is a very big, crucial part, the identiteitsvorming. Questioning everything and to trying to understand what you agree with and what you don't agree with. And having that discussion on a level, I am being respected in my opinion. And I can have an opinion. Okay, I'm 5 and I want to have chocolate in the middle of the night. No, it's not going to happen. Pero question it. Why is it not going to happen? Because the sugar will affect you and you're not going to suffer that. Like, have that discussion. Stimulate that discussion. Because if you don't think about things and choices in the world, you're not going to think about who do you want to be in this world. Dus het is heel belangrijk to stimulate conversation from young kids. Who are you? What do you like? What you don't like? What do you identify with? Do you like animals? Why don't you like animals? Kosa sina like, why don't you agree with your punishment? Why not? Was I say because a whole lot of conversation, pero laat well exploreren. And not just with toys when they're 2. Let them question you when they're 4 and 6 and 8. And let them be part of the discussion that is the world. Let them. Então, imitahin say pret, mit yung sobrina ko din sa Isaya, Amina. And Amina questions everything. At the tibiami rumah mo heta don't ask Tia that. And Tia can handle it. Let her ask me. But samani, and she's it's very witty. Biaba zeta kumi etong what truth or dare. Pero etong what truth or dare to pahayan suzin, no? Se quer algo, ato mi bisa truth, eta mani.
Ah, dat is een keer
See, claro. Eta bisa mi, have you ever denied your little niece?
Quanto é ding?
It is says, no,
Nice.
but
She sounds like fun.
oh my gosh. Eta bisa mi truth or dare. Ma bisa le truth. Do you like animals? Mi tamani, I don't really like animals, especially snakes. And I get pensa tamani. Tia, truth or dare? Mi di dare. I dare you to wear a snake costume. I mean, why do you hate me like that? But I entertain her. I entertain what she wants to do. And though sometimes they can me play Play-Doh, kunela dare me to play Play-Doh with her. I'm thinking, you got me there. Adami tonga Play-Doh, but I'm not gonna fight her in her trying to have a sense of how to get things done. I'm not gonna fight her on that. Certain things are not possible, but you explain it to her. She has to understand you have a right to have an opinion. You have a right to say what you want. You have a right to bring up a caso manibukia. It doesn't mean you're going to always get your way, but you have a right to do that. And it shapes her. Was that? Bom dia, tia. Bom dia, Mina. Like, how are you doing? I'm good. Was that? She's there. Ze mag er zijn.
Nice.
En ik vind het heerlijk. Vind het echt heerlijk. Pa waki 23 wanneer. Was dat? Kom bij Kubo?
No, a mí lo es super entertaining pa experience mucho com a weird assim, met hij weirdness is super leuk.
Met gewoon laugh met a laugh my ass off, serious. But sobre ita, she engages you in her world. And I think that is so important for kids. No beperk nang kinanta of kikunang ke bis of kona po explain. Sometimes they ask a million questions. Maybe you're gonna have to answer 999,000, pero you're gonna have to answer something to dance with them in that curiosity. Ik vind het heerlijk. Ik vind het echt heerlijk, maar moet je aan een element. En to tell you things. En was ik tibia met haar in de bureau, maar we zeiden no, but mensen dizen op papier komen met ja, maar it's very witty what she says. Was niet op papier no, but I think it's essential. Was hebben identiteitsvorming to feel you have a place in the world. People will accept you for who you are, and you have a right to have an opinion. En dat zijn echt belangrijke bouwstenen. They are not just little people in vorming. They are little people who also understand they have rights and they have an opinion, and they are allowed to be there and take up space in the world and be whoever they want to be. Dat is heel belangrijk.
Wat hij hoop je mucho sí, dus a vos que bonís de lo que vas a contarme de hopi personalidad, hopi mes.
Sí.
Wat hij hoop je mucho sí que ting tanto personalidad jong of het dan un
standout
case.
No, I do see it. But sowieso moet je nagaan met de waarde met trouw. Was that something has been shattered in them? Was that something has been shattered? Waardoor is met papier aan de woord die trauma. Something has been shattered, and 9 out of 10 times, my biggest challenge to get them to feel comfortable and get them to show me who they are and get them to draw something that comes from the heart and to just trying to make them feel safe in the world again. And that I think is the biggest challenge with dealing with traumatized kids. When their sense of security of the world has been damaged. And that is something they carry everywhere. Now, dat is ora na dentro kamer de psycholoog. They take it to sleep, they take it to school, they take it to sport club. They don't feel safe. And I would say the scariest thing in the world by the kids na kita what goes on in their mind. Was of course to play back, things they draw out pabuwak. And to feel safe at that age is one of the biggest elements but will have healthy kids, healthy development. You have to feel safe in your environment. It breaks my heart, but the amount of trauma we have and the types of trauma kunosting and not understanding certain experiences for kids the lifelong diagnosis, no? And it manifests differently at different ages with different symptoms, but it is a lifelong diagnosis. And just because they can handle it better at a certain age with help, it doesn't take it away. So I think that is my biggest that's my pain. What am I say?
What about the types of traumas? Kiko te sono ko wak ko ta kom formas kiran.
Lastima Lastimadamente, it is sexual abuse, lo qual me tawa copy.
Goed, is de conformatie
Sim,
aan
is
de
een goede conformaas. Naast sexual abuse betekent geweld. Dus kids who are being, was dat? Kunnen worden gedaan of na te worden emotionally abused. Dus, was dat? In die range die kon je abuse ziet eruit. But I do have to say, is die sexual abuse is gewoon ons encontra hopi mas aqui na Aruba. Ora botat papi die kinderen kuta jega and they're showcasing duidelijk signs die having been sexually abused. Weet ik kere is ta tot nu toe de mijn experience the biggest group I've seen. Helaas.
Sorry, ma queda frozen un rato.
It's
O sea,
okay.
e
No,
dou
but it
bipisa,
is.
dou bipisa, mi
It
nunca
is.
non sa come
Sí.
rispondere.
No, it is. Basanto, there are a lot of cases toch kutas to this day me echt wonder how are they. Pasobra nanta at some point therapy stops, pasobra na pick up ng desarrollo na po by school, the crying stops, but asi trauma behandeling. But I do wonder, like, was a few years later, I wonder how this child is doing, or I wonder how this kid is doing. And it's a good sign na not being back poli, paso atro biting problema. But it does stay in the back of your mind. I just hope they're okay. I just hope, for some way or the other, they are okay.
Que the age range mais ou menos de mostrar como me seguir traco não, por exemplo, são mais grande e sumação.
No, I think no so much de 18 años. So
Okay.
18 años, I've seen teenagers who've been through this at 18.
Pero consequences seria de 18 anos então mais young.
It's a difference.
It impacte full diferente, toch?
It impacte full diferente. It triggers também tá afetando diferente, mas ora mucho mais chiquito get triggered by something kuna pasa ding. But I had tantrums, lloramento, not being able to sleep, not wanting to eat, tu com problema, anto se tá 18 being triggered, será na mesa em camber, not wanting to talk, not really engaging, not doing nothing for school, but was cijfers erbij atrás. Everything takes over about the trauma. No? Dus het ziet er net iets anders uit. En was ik quizás na busco maneira para calm themselves down, na usa alcohol, na usa droga, smoking, cigarettes, noem maar op. Just to calm that part that is so uneasy pas sobre die trauma. Was dat? Tu PTSS klachten kuta sali bindilanti. Dus it does look different depending on your age, but the effects are probably even zwaar. Pasobra, het kind heeft ontwikkelingstaken en mensen llegan a ciertos milestones que mensen desarrollar emotionally, socially, né? Pero eso niet just so that going into young adulthood. And then también to prepare for a different kind of life after they leave the house and go to study. You'd be surprised, you'd be surprised quando mucha nang kwa pasa din trauma que nang po just get by, pero na llega hulanda na takay fe outro. Sí, paso full estructura de caso no tem mais. They have to actually do things que basta stressful. Você regel kamer, regel dit, regel dat. And then you have kunada de kamer nan so. And then the thoughts creep in. Bosanto, ori nanti bij deal with triggers and to deal with thoughts and to deal with trauma to PTSS. So I've spoken to some students na Holanda kuta it's surprising to me what happens after I made this step. Dus sowieso bij trauma, hoe eerder je het behandelt, hoe beter. Hoe eerder je erbij bent, hoe beter.
Misha, me een question.
Aha.
Of yeah, it's a podcast, so I have many. Pero
Thank God for that.
Pero mi que purva not sound like an asshole.
Okay.
Okay, es una pregunta con mi no skibi.
Okay.
Pero me di, you know what? I have this theory.
Sí.
Mi roman sa DJ, mi amigo sa DJ. I have a theory, and mi que puntarabo si eta klapabo.
Okay.
Without being an asshole. No tomami no man.
It's okay. The non-asshole thing has been said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Door die experientie met de keren gewoon henden dan como conocer en pasado. Die un overeenkomst ku ame wa com observation ku hopi meestal hende mujer ku a pasa ku ame te kera pasa de algo, pues me the confirmation, right? Hopi bi atendo op tienen cabedi collo.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion, do observation. Maybe it's off. Maybe it's off. Pero hopi bi. Si no me te delete episode. Pero es algo que Misha, I swear. I swear. Hopi viaja. Turns out un persona como conoce que tiene que ver cara of love algo así na. End up to passa door di un traumatic experience eta abuso di porta emotional, porta sexual. De maneira como por confirm say of this met DSA
Well,
Fabi?
helaas hair color, not in this some
Okay.
vijf. But I do get what you're saying.
But I get me, toch?
I do get what you're saying.
Maybe het algo ko of no. Ami di lagabo I said enough. Okay, mi
But
lagabo Fabi.
I'm not gonna speak for all women who can be hair colors because you have people who are creative and expressive like that.
Exactly, see.
But there's something impulsive, and there's something about your identity. So hair color is your identity.
Correcto.
But
Kubo kier
it
cambia bo
changed,
identity
but
for que hui di algo for que maybe.
It's a way of expressing yourself por indicar some kind of instability.
Okay.
But I'm not speaking for everybody.
No, we mita kung besando mina que to point ku kabe di ko
you might be missing out. Pero it does it depends on the age as well, no? But younger women are more experimental with their hair color, but some kind of how I do understand what you're saying. It
But
doesn't.
it porta un reaction después, toch?
Sì, e porta aku I've seen it all. Make a cambio mi color. I'm gonna do red today. I'm gonna do blue. E porta. I'm gonna rephrase. I'm gonna reiterate. It porta algo indicative the instability. Mas bien de personality, no? Structureel. Van, I'm not good enough today. I'm gonna change my hair. I'm gonna be new person today. Awe mi tapete persona aqui. My identity shift. Otro dia, I like blue. Blue should be. I am blue. Today I'm blue. Call me blue. Identity to shift. It could showcase some kind of instability in my personality. I'm not gonna dive into qua personality.
No, okay. I mean, in ieder geval, mi lota dessing mi mes, pues mi kan me look cada luno.
Sì. Maar dat is oké. Maar dat mag.
Bij een passado, dus het
kijk, it could be something indicative. It doesn't have to be. I think if you take, I've seen people in front of me do that. Every week there was a different hair color. And I'm a psychologist. Pero you have to also consider it's not just the hair color.
No, exactly.
There's something in their personality. Can you make up your mind about who you are? There's a level of instability. And that fleeting personality identity, whoa. I don't think you even know who you are. Question. It's not the hair color. Let's put it that way. It's not the hair color. The hair color is an expression of something else. An expression of instability. And although I get what you're saying, because I think I know what you mean with, I have a theory about different hair colors. I think I know what you mean.
No, my phrases are so full mal.
No, but phrase is politically correct. Let me tell you that. But I do understand that there's something, the core, with a shifting, with a moving.
Ese mi toque men, pues soporta definitely gewoon riba Pinterest maken un check bij blauw, je moet super cool. Ja, ook het summer, mi dio bij traha, mi kemi bij blauw.
Yeah, exactly. You do have people who gravitate towards that more vibrant, colorful. What's happens at a part of them, no? They are vibrant and they're strong-willed. Dat kan allemaal.
Pero porta un reaction die algo jora
também. Porta un reaction die algo otro. I've had people die bij mij bij een wachtkamer. Where is this person? And they oh, we're blue today. That's a blue. It could be very changing. But I do get what you're saying. You have to take a look at more if the personality is unstable and fleeting and not really, not echt verankerd in algo. So I do get where you're coming from. Definitely.
It take a toll on you. Ja, ku turdia bota dil toch ku hinderen ku te passando door die algo ku energy te basta heavy in the room. Pues ahora ora but touch the topic the sexual abuse mes. Misaki I era bit pisa, pues like that affects me. Sei como gewoon mention me by the details ni nada. Does it take a toll on you?
I think it used to take a toll more in the beginning. After a while, ora becomes experience how you can help. And that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And to some sense of, hey, I can handle this, or I can live with this, or it doesn't define me what happened. It kind of creates a sense in you like, I know it's really hard right now, but believe me, we're going to get to that point.
Nice.
And I think that helps me to not really take all these feelings home with me. But so I understand where you're coming from, and I know it's hard right now, but we're going to get through it. Because I'm here. We're going to do this together. You're not by yourself. This is the room where everything is we're going to cry. I promise we're going to cry. But we're also going to laugh. And we're also going to get through it. It's going to be work. I'm not going to do it for you. You're going to have to do it. but I'm here to help you. Besides this, once you establish that connection and trust and that relationship in therapy,
Hmm.
then there's possibilities to be explored. And that has helped me a lot. Kumita bisa mi not to take home that heavy feeling mane. Basta si bokeda dry riba kiko na pa sa ding, you're not gonna be able to be there for them. So wat mane, dat is heel zwaar. And I've heard things kumita mane. Oh,
Sure.
basta like yeah, like okay, it's okay. We're gonna get through it. And basta mita make sure to make them understand you are not what happened. You still have that pen in your hand and you can write your own story. Basta there's still an after. There's
Nice.
still something we can do. Basta so I try to instill that in them. Like we're busy reshaping whatever it is you think is still stuck from that past. And we're gonna do it. We're gonna get through it. Basta, we're gonna have good days, we're having bad days. In die aan het bing therapie geslaagd, basta, of dat logres, EMDR-behandeling, of zo'n type die behandeling. Gehuild, gesproken, alles. And other days dat we in Sami, I don't want to talk about it. Ja, maar het is oké, dat bonk, like, do you want to Google something? Do you want to listen to music? Do you want to play a game? Like, it's okay. It's not my process. It's your process. Então, se você sinta step tijd, maar no, me mensen behandelen trauma, tu biaha, then the essence of what you're doing gets lost. The essence of what you're doing is making them feel safe again, safe enough to go to om te verwerken wat ze hebben meegemaakt. Your goal is not to push them in a corner and make them feel forced to attend to something they're not ready for. There's a level of a dance that goes in behandeling. I'm here for you. You're here to get certain things done, but I'm not going to force you. Some days are going to be hard. Some days are going to be easy. Some days we're going to talk and laugh. Other days you're going to cry because I'm going to push you a little to get that part done that you don't want to get done, or if it's difficult for you to get done. It's very dynamic. It's definitely very dynamic, but it's gotten better over the years. They definitely.
Final question, Misha.
Uh-huh.
No, vamos a dos final questions. Sorry.
Okay.
Pero final question, mi quero usar ele kasi mane closing ta. Die topics ang sa touch awe. Sempre tem die different age groups sake sake, dus para algum cierto story and cierto tips and também mais relevant para outro. Pero toch si wat tingo purva doen un general tip. Adding some value na whoever is watching this, who's just human. Kiko wala pa share.
Live with purpose. And I don't mean to say purpose as in just what makes you happy. Purpose is what you believe is that little print you want to leave behind in the world. Whether it is helping someone get through something, being in a space that makes you feel safe and comfortable. It's a purpose to establish some kind of sense of who you are and yourself. But try to live with purpose. There's something in psychology called mattering. Once you feel like you matter, it really gives you purpose. Once you feel like you've mattered to someone, you've mattered to yourself, you've mattered in a way, it makes you feel complete. And so sometimes we think purpose is, oh my gosh, I have to do charity, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's the small things. Was that? Timbiaha mita ding supermarket of timbiaha mita ding store and to hand it a beans kami. Was sometimes an older person and they start a conversation. Ja, mita bani, I know that's a very weird color for a curtain, right? And we have just this little conversations. Het gaat om niks. But at that moment in time, quizás me timpura, and I only had a few minutes to pick up something, pero maybe that conversation made a difference for that person and their day. And maybe it wasn't that purposeful for me, but you meant something to someone. And to benota halen niks uit. It levert weinig voor je op. But you gave that person time. So if given time is your purpose, do it in a way, maybe I don't gain much from it, but you've meant something else for someone else. Much bigger than that. And find what gives you peace. I think everybody, it's not money. It's not the ever chasing of material things. Find what gives you peace. My peace, to be honest, look at the echt naast me content that I hear kids laugh. But that the little scream that they echt enjoy something. Ik vind het heerlijk. Patinde mucha hari. Like really enjoy themselves. Or just being in water. Water to really soothing and calm me down. Find what gives you peace, and it has to be something that doesn't cost anything. Por sobre si não tem placa, você pode find that peace as well. So live with purpose and find peace. That's my biggest step.
Beautiful message. Thank
Sim.
you. Thank you, Misha. Bansi sa dame. Mita bay pasabi skrifta woki ke pen.
Aha.
Anto lo que me lo haya leuk pa bohasita, bota skibi pergunta. Ku amit bay hasi man a final question of the interview per next guest.
Cool.
Bonus again next guest.
Okay.
But this question is going to be the final question of their episode.
Yeah. Okay, cool.